so today, there's 2 reasons why we're doing this video today. First of all, I had a request for freshly milled flour English muffins on one of our videos. And then the other is our daughter has a coworker that requests me to make him English muffins every week. So this kills 2 birds with 1 stone. So what we have today for you, the wheat berries that we're using is the hard white wheat and the Kamut or Khorasan wheat. We're going to use about 3/4 of the hard white because it creates more gluten than the Kamut. The Kamut though does give it a buttery texture, a velvety texture. It tastes really good. And this is a ancient wheat. The Kamut is. Then we've got 1 1/4 cups of. So we're going to use 384 grams of this. I may grind a little bit more in case we need a little bit more because it's very humid outside. I may go like 400 grams of flour just to make sure we've got enough. Then we've got 1 1/4 cups of warm milk. It should be about 105 degrees. We've got 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, real maple syrup. It comes out of the tree, not corn syrup. You can also use honey or sugar for this, but we just like the flavor and we like that it's a natural sweetener. We've got 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Let this cool a little bit. You don't want to put it in the dough hot because then it's going to kill your yeast. And then we've got 1 egg at room temperature. I did not get mine to room temperature. It happens a lot, so I'll put it in some warm water. And then we've got salt. This is a pink Himalayan sea salt. It's a very fine sea salt. And then we have our yeast, which I've got to go get real quick, and cornmeal. The cornmeal doesn't go in the recipe. It just gets sprinkled on the pan so the muffins don't stick to the griddle. Now, the things that you're going to need for this, tool-wise, it's good to have a scale. If you don't have a scale, the recipe is 3 cups of flour or a little more, just depending, like I said, humidity plays a big part in bread baking. So this one came from Amazon. I do recommend you having a digital read thermometer so you can test and make sure that your liquid is the right temperature, and you can also test at the end and if your muffins are done. I have a mixer. I'm using my Bosch mixer today. You can use a KitchenAid mixer, would work just fine. Of course, I've got my grain mill. I have the mott mill, and then I also have a Nutri-Mill Classic, which is a bigger mill. It's an impact mill, but it grinds a lot of flour at one time, and we only need 3 cups today. Then I've got a griddle over here that we're going to griddle them on, and then our cookie sheet, and you're going to need parchment paper. You're going to need parchment paper. I just do this for easy cleanup, but you're going to need parchment paper squares to put your muffins on when we roll them out. You're going to need a rolling pin and a cutter of some sort. I use this ring. You can also griddle them on this ring if you want to keep them in the rings to keep them nice and round and formed. I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to cut them out with this. And I think that's it. Let me go get our yeast and we'll get started. An instant yeast is what you're going to use. I just got this out of the freezer. I keep it in the freezer. I buy it in bulk. It calls for 2 1/4 teaspoons of this. If you don't have bulk instant yeast, a package of instant yeast is 2 1/4 teaspoons. So
Okay.
for now, we're going to measure our wheat berries. So we're going to do 100 of the Kamut and then 300 of the hard white. And if you'll notice, the Kamut wheat berries are a lot bigger, and they're yellow, and they, like I said, they give off like a buttery flavor. Here we go. Well, it's fine. 400, around 400 is good. Or 3 cups, maybe a little over 3 cups. You'll see whenever we're mixing it what I'm talking about. Okay, now we're going to go over to the mill and mill our flour. Let me describe it. This is a stone mill. So there's 2 stone plates in there that rub against each other, and that's what grinds the flour. And depending on this knob right here is how low those plates go together. And you want fine flour, so you want the plates touching, and you will hear the noise here in just a minute of the plates touching. You hear that rattling sound? That means the plates are touching, so that's good. So while our flour was milling, I went ahead and put the milk, the maple syrup, and the yeast in here. And I spun it around with them and mixed it a little bit. And what you want to do is let it sit for a few minutes for the yeast to start activating. And you'll start seeing the it get little bubbles. And that'll let you know that the yeast is good. Also, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to show you again this salt. If you look at this salt, this is like super fine pink sea salt. Some people use the Redmond's Real Salt, which is a really good salt, and I use that for cooking, but we don't use it for bacon because it gives you like a gritty texture. Sometimes, and yeah, I just don't want to take a chance. But this is what it looks like. And you can see the minerals and stuff in it. And it's just, sometimes you'll have grit, like a grit in your bread from it. So I just use the super fine salt. Okay, Donnie, if you can get right here, you can start seeing some bubbles coming up.
Yeah, I don't know if the camera's going to get it, but it is starting to bubble up just a little bit there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a shadow.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to dump our egg in and our butter in, and we're going to mix that together. Okay. Just break that egg up a little bit. And then I'm going to add our flour and our salt. And we don't want to add the salt directly into the liquid because salt and yeast don't like each other. We're going to add the salt once we put the flour in. And this is a cup measuring cup. So we're going to put 3 cups in, and then we're going to add a little bit more if we need to, if it's too wet. I smell that kamut in there. You can smell it. Okay, then we're going to put our teaspoon of salt. If we have any left, I can either feed it in my sourdough starter, or you can freeze it in a baggie and use it later on to feed your sourdough starter, or add it to another recipe. All right, I'm going to put my lid on because I don't want flour flying everywhere. And this is going to be a wet mixture. If you look, it's going to be very hydrated. But you want it to start pulling away from the sides a little bit. So I am going to add just a little tiny bit more flour. Scrape it down from the sides right here. I think this is going to be good. We're going to knead it for about 2 or 3 minutes. So this is done kneading. I actually kneaded it for about 5 minutes before it started pulling away from the sides really good. And then I also added about an extra 1/4 cup of flour. But this is a very wet dough. If you look, it's sticking to my fingers pretty good. So it's a pretty high hydration dough. But it's not going to be like a typical bread dough, because you want to get those nooks and crannies, and those are allowed with the air that gets in it. It's thicker than a pancake batter, think of it that way, but not quite as sturdy as a bread dough. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our beaters out of here, and we're going to clean them off, and we're going to let this sit. And the good thing about this mixer is you have the lid, so I don't even have to put this in a separate bowl. I can just leave it in this bowl and put the lid on it and let it sit for 35 to 40 minutes until it doubles in size. And if you have a KitchenAid, just put a warm wet towel over it and let it sit. You wouldn't have to worry about putting it in. And I'm going to grease this bowl with some cooking spray and put the lid on, and we'll see you back here in 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so if you look, our dough has more than doubled. It's been 45 minutes, so it's nice and puffy. So and I did grease the bowl, so it should come out a lot easier. And I've oiled the mat. This silicone mat is a must if you're going to do any type of bread baking. And I've also oiled our rolling pin. So we're going to get these out. All the good stuff out. Okay. So we're going to take and roll this out to about an inch maybe thick. Okay. I've also greased my ring. You can use a biscuit cutter, you can use a glass. And these I just keep reusing. You can see where I've baked on them before. And I sprinkled a little cornmeal on them. This dough feels really good. Like I said, it's sticky, but it's not overly sticky.
It smells really good too.
It smells good. We'll see how many we're going to get out of here. We should get maybe at least 8. Hoping for 12, but at least 8. Okay, and then we're going to cover these with a wet towel to proof the second time. That was 6. Let's see. Get our scraps together. Don't overcrowd them on the pan because they are going to spread out, and you don't want them to touch, if at all possible. We're just going to freeform a little one out of this one. This is a 3, it's a little over a 3-inch cutter. So if you had a 3-inch cutter, you could probably get 8 out of here. We're just going. Okay. The little baby one. All right. So we're going to cover these up, and they're going to let them proof for another 45 minutes to an hour, and then we will bake them off, or griddle them and then bake them off. Look at these bad boys. They're all nice and puffy. And what I'm going to do is we're going to move them over to the griddle, and then they're going to finish off in the oven. And I'm going to leave them on this parchment paper to move them, because if not, it's going to deflate them if you try to transfer them without moving. And it works perfectly fine every time. You're just going to set them on there like that. And I've got the griddle set between 250 and 300. I've learned that the lower works better. I think I can fit 2 more on there. So this made 6, 7, 8, 9, and a little baby one. So you might could get a dozen out of it if you used a 3-inch cutter. Mine was a little bigger than a 3-inch. All right, so we're gonna set a timer. I've got the oven preheating to 350 because they're gonna finish off in the oven. But for right now, we're gonna set a timer for 7 minutes.
And you're doing each side for 7 minutes?
Yep, each side for 7 minutes, and then in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes, and we're going to check the internal temperature to make sure it's 200 degrees.
All right.
Okay, so once I flipped right before I flipped these, I pulled the parchment paper out. It comes out really easy. Be very careful when you flip these, though, because they do deflate quite a bit. The only one that didn't deflate very much was the little small one, but these were, I mean, you saw how big they were before, and it's just gravity. It's just natural gravity, and the weight of them just makes them deflate a little bit. But you're going to, like I said, cook them on each side for about 7 minutes. And then I just flipped them back over because the top sides weren't quite as brown. But anyways, we're going to get them on here. And we're going to pop them in the oven. We're going to start in the oven for like 10 minutes. This one's like perfect. You're going to get them in the oven for, try 10 minutes at first. And then we're going to stick the thermometer in. They need to be around 200 degrees. So,
all right.
350, starting at 10 minutes. Could be at upwards of 15 minutes, but we're going to start with 10. Okay, so I just got finished taking the temperature, and it's 199 degrees, so we're good. I'm going to let these cool on the cooling rack, and then when you cut an English muffin, what you want to do is take a fork, and you're going to go around the muffin. What is that? Go around the muffin in the middle. You don't want to cut it with a knife, because you want to keep those nooks and crannies. So by cutting it around, in fact, I'll show you on this little one. I'll show you. So you're going to take the fork and you're going to poke it around. It's really hot. Okay, ready? Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that little cranny. I don't know what a nook and a cranny is. I think the nooks are the little divots and the crannies are the parts that are sticking up. But oh, that's so good.
Oh, yeah. Ready for some butter and honey.
Nice
or
and soft.
jam.
Yep. Or cinnamon sugar. Or make a breakfast sandwich. Whatever you choose to do with pizza. You can do multiple things with it.
All right.
All right. There you go. Perfect English muffin.
Yeah, let's show them the rack. Yeah, no, here, but you want to pick it up. Just take the whole rack over there. We don't. Before we'd have to take them off and place them on a.
Yeah.
We bought this rack a couple months ago to aid in what we do over here, and boy, I tell you what, this thing has really done wonders. And so you could get it out of our way, and but yeah, it really does good. I forget how much we paid for the thing. Do you remember?
It's right at $100. I think I
Was
got
that
it
$100?
I got it on Websteront. I got a really good deal on it. Bought that and the
Yeah, we got the racks, the pans, place for the griddle down here.
Supplies and stuff are up here.
Yeah, the supplies are up here. Different things: paper, wrapping paper, parchment paper,
bags.
Bags.
This has got my measuring spoons and all that stuff in it. My bag with my extra parchment papers, my hair nets, all that good stuff. My bench scraper, all that stuff are in those boxes.
And on the side,
you got.
I hung some things up.
Yeah, this is my dough whisk, my apron. I hang my bags, my little shower caps that I put over bowls when I'm covering stuff. My cookie scoops. Yeah, so we got everything. My bread pans are all up there. I saw this immediately because we were having to put things on the kitchen table and it would just made everything just a mess. But you see how clean this parchment I'm just gonna fold. I mean, it's not dirty. I didn't put any oil or anything on the muffins, so I'm just gonna. I usually just shake it off real good, and I fold it up and reuse it. You can reuse it multiple times. In fact, almost the more you use it, the better it gets as far as like laying flat and all that. I did the same with my bread pans. I cut them in like a shape that they fit down inside, and then I just use it to lift them out.
Yeah.
And but Dollar Tree has this in sheets, and they have, like I said, the little square individual sheets that I use to lay the English muffins on. And you don't have to have a griddle to make English muffins. You can do them in a cast iron skillet and just do just a few at a time. But
All right, well, guys, we hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's helped you out. If you have any questions, just let us know. We'll try to answer them best we can. Again, guys, we're not experts on this stuff. We learned this through, trial and error. And that's exactly what it is. And I'm telling you, even if your bread does not turn out the way you really want it to, if it's edible, it's a success, And so anything that we ever make that, let's just say the bread didn't actually rise the way we wanted to, or it didn't actually turn out the way necessarily we wanted it to, maybe to sell, we'll use it. We'll use it in other areas. We'll make French toast casserole out of it, or French toast. We made French toast out of bread before.
French toast casserole is good because it's a little bit more forgiving. And I just found a recipe for a savory breakfast casserole where you can use leftover bread.
So but remember what you did. Make notes of it. What each time, and so. The recipe, every time she does something, she'll write it down, jot it down exactly how she did it. That way, when it turns out, she knows exactly how she did it.
And it varies, too. Like I said, the humidity makes a difference. Temperature, that kind of stuff makes a difference on how long you have to proof something or how wet your dough is. It's just, you get a feel of it after a while.
All right. Well, you guys take care. We love you. Hope the Lord blesses you real good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.